Let's continue. So today we are discussing groups, group functioning. Group functioning. We are done with what? We are done with stress, human motivation, interpersonal relationship. So today is group functioning. Please make sure that as soon as you join, you close your video and you mute your mic so that you can avoid distraction. Please mute your mic. My name is I'm Mr. Zwanes, or you can call me Sia, for both PYC 1501 and PYC 1502. Nature of group functioning. Perhaps, perhaps you're asking yourself, why group? Why studying about groups? As psychologists, social work aspiring psychologists, why is it so important that we study about group or group functioning? Then let's open the lecturer's notes. Okay, guys, groups. Study Unit 5, the psychology of groups. Learning objectives, understand the psychology of groups, describe how groups change over time, develop knowledge on the attributes of human groups, understand the differentiation of groups, as well as understand the nature of group interaction. The question is, then why are you studying about groups? Introduction. Human beings have always lived in small social groups. These, these groups include families, tribes, clans. Today, people still spend a great deal of time in groups. We study together in study groups. We work together as a groups. We worship as a group, etc. We work in groups because groups can be beneficial. However, groups can only be beneficial to the extent that the group members are motivated to meet a group goals, effectively share information, efficient coordinated their efforts, because these things do not always happen, or group members do not always behave in a way that could benefit the group. So in short, why studying about groups? Remember, you are not living in isolation. We live with people. We interact with people. It's a must that we interact. We cannot avoid that. We are not living in isolation. So as a psychologist, your your role, your job is to assist people in solving their problems. Is assist people in managing their social affairs. And their social affairs are related to what? To the external other people. So when a client comes to you with a personal issue, you'll find that that issue is not only related to an individual. However, people around, they act as an influence. Hence, I'm saying we are not living in isolation. We influence one another. Hence, the importance of groups. You'll be hired by companies on group conflicts. Now and again, you'll find an opportunity, they hire you a certain company that they're experiencing a group conflict or social issues, social conflict, they want you to deal with it. So it is important for you as aspiring psychologists to know about the dynamics of groups of dynamics. Particularly in South Africa, we have 11 official languages, different races, meaning it is essential for you to know about different groups, the diversity, the cultural background. That's why I'm studying about groups. So it is important. A group refers to a collection of things. We think of these things as a group of belonging together because they have something in common. Groups and belonging, there's something in common. The nature and characteristics of group is made up of the units that make up the group. Therefore, we can expand the definition of groups and say it refers to the collection of units of the same characteristics or features. For example, a group, a red ball, may be considered a red group, whereas a group was considered as a blue. For you to understand group functioning, I was explaining the importance of groups. Why are we studying about groups as aspiring psychologists, social workers? Then I did explain the importance of group. Then, for you to master this chapter, you need to know that group functioning is divided into 3 chapters. That is attributes of human groups, 3 units, differentiation of groups, as well as interaction of groups. Attribute of human groups, differentiation, and interaction. Attribute. What is attribute? Attribute, which has to do with the characteristics of the group. What is made up of the group? What makes a group? Are the characteristics of the group. Under the characteristics, we have what? The group structure as well as the group process. Group structure and the group process. Group structure refers to its elements and the way in which these are organized. Group structure refers to its elements and the way in which these elements are made up of a group. For instance, you as a psychology student, what elements makes your group? Your group, your common, their characteristics. What characteristics do you share? Characteristics that you share, you are doing the same course, you intend to achieve one thing, that is to become a psychologist. So we can say that those are the key elements that makes up a group as a psychology student. Then the group process. Group process refers to a way in which the elements of the groups interact and how this interaction evolves over time. Group process refers to the way in which the elements of the group interact and how this interaction evolves over time. Then, the attributes of human group. What makes up a group? We have what? Group structure of human being, of human group. Human membership, group norms, group cohesion, and so on. So to explain this, let's go to your lecturer's notes. Let's start in your lecturer's notes. What do you mean by group structure? Okay. As it explained, attributes of human group, differentiation and interaction. They say, although it might seem that we could easily recognize a social group when we come across one, it is actually not that easy to define what makes a group. A group of people, a social group. A social group is defined as a set of individuals with a shared purpose, with a shared who normally share identity. In addition, a social group is formed with 2 or more people who are perceived as bonded together in a coherent unit. For example, social group are in the same class. PYC1502, for example. Let's start movement. Human group is defined. For you as psychology students, PYC1502, you see yourself as a group, meaning those are your attributes of human group. What makes your group solid? Then we have what? The structure. The structure of human group. The same membership. That's number 1. What do you mean by membership? Membership, they don't mean by membership, it doesn't mean joining a group and signing the forms to be part of the group. That you have a membership card. No. What membership means in this instance, group members are not only found of information during times of ambiguity, but they also help us answer the existential significance question: who I am. That's a membership. What makes your group who I am? Who are you? Who do you represent? Common sense tells us that our sense of self is our private definition of who we are, a kind of archival record of experiences, qualities, and capabilities. Yet the self also includes all those qualities that spring for membership in the group. People are defined not only by their traits, preference, interests, or dislike, but also by their friendship, social roles, family connection, group membership, except not as me or we. So in short, the group membership, how do you identify yourself with the other members? So that's your membership. How do you run your psychology students doing the same module, intending to achieve similar goals? That is your group membership. You see yourself as being part of the group. So that is group membership. Then you continue with what? The group norm. Norm, being a member of the social group may require one to behave in a particular ways that are expected of each member belonging to that particular group. Group norms. What are norms? Norms could be customs, what you share. Being a member of a social group may require one to behave in a particular way that is expected of each member belonging to that particular group. A group norm are the rules that you set within a group, the customs, the routine that you believe in. They say being a member of a social group may require one to behave in a particular way that are expected of each member belonging to that particular group. The behavioral expectation from each member of the group are referred to a group norm. Norms from groups include customs, traditions, standards, rules, as well as the general values of the group. So this is what makes a group norm. Are the customs you share within the group, the tradition, the standard, the rules you set amongst your members. So that's a group structure. I'm just summarizing it. Then we have group cohesion. Group cohesion, a group is characterized by how close or committed members are. Group cohesion refers to the strength of the relationship among group members. Group cohesion is the integrity, solidarity, social integration, unity of the group. In common cases, members of cohesion groups like each other and also united in their pursuit of collectivity. Let's pass. I will summarize them now. Then you have what? Sociometric structure. The last one is sociometric structure. Okay, sociometric structure. Sociometric structure refers to patterns of liking and disliking within the group or amongst members of the same group. Within groups, individuals may have a preference for some members over others. Some members may be liked than others. So within a group, we are not forced to like anyone. It's impossible to like anyone. It's impossible as well to dislike everyone. So that's a social metric that when you join a group, don't expect everyone to like you. Don't expect everyone to dislike you. And remember, what keeps you close in a group? Because you share a common goal to achieve something. And there'll be conflict. So that is group structure. There'll be conflict as well. So know how to define attributes of human groups. And as you attribute of human groups, just know that you have the structure of human groups. The structure of human groups, membership, like we said, membership. How do you identify yourself as group members? Norms, the rules, the custom you set within your group. You always have standards. You have rules. You have customs that you live by. Cohesion, how strong is the group? How strong are you as a group, as individual members? Followed by sociometric. Sociometric structure is determined by the patterns of liking and disliking within the members of the group, which is normal, it's unavoidable. And the process of human group. The process of human group, you have what is called groupthink. They like it and multiple choice questions. The groupthink. The process. The process means step by step the process. How do we form groups? Step by step the process of human groups. In addition to working on tasks together, a group often makes decisions together. It is common that people have different attitudes towards an issue. This may hinder the group from making a decision. Therefore, groups sometimes work to ensure that the group makes an anonymous decision. However, this may lead to a problem of groupthink. Groupthink, then the question is, what is groupthink? Groupthink occurs when a group regards the maintenance of the group cohesion and solidarity as more important than considering the facts. Let's repeat. In addition to working on tasks together, a group often makes decisions together. It is common that people have different attitudes towards an issue. It is common that our views differ, disagreement, particularly within the group, views normally differ. However, they say this may hinder the group from making a decision. This may hinder a group from making a decision because there are conflicts. Therefore, groups sometimes work to ensure that a group makes an anonymous decision. So normally, when there's conflict, when you can't reach a decision, you choose, let's make an anonymous decision. However, this may lead to what? This may lead to problems of groupthink. Groupthink occurs when a group regards the maintenance of group cohesion, regards the group cohesion. Group cohesion is the strength of the group, and solidarity is more important than considering facts. You have an issue, you try to make a decision due to disagreement, meaning this disagreement, people are throwing opinions, facts on each other. However, make an anonymous decision just to lower things down, to manage the situation. So that is groupthink. They say groupthink occurs when group regard the maintenance of group cohesion. So in short, they consider the group strength. They consider harmony instead of considering facts. They say groupthink is a bad outcome of a poor managed group. Imagine that you are part of the group that discusses the new nuclear weapon policy. The leader believes that it is necessary to develop a more nuclear weapon. However, deep in your heart, you disagree. You think the nuclear weapons are too dangerous for humanity. In the meeting, you dare not to say anything because you know that you will displease the leader. The leader is pressurizing anyone to vote on a decision. However, the vote is done publicly. So so if you vote, you disagree with the leader, then there are repercussions. What do you think the group will turn out like? The group will act anonymously, and no new ideas can be introduced. So that's the challenge. The challenge with groups, at times they are autocratic leaders. You have different people whom we try to please in order to make a decision. That is groupthink. You make an anonymous decision for the sake of the group, for the sake of being a good group. That is groupthink. Then we have what? Group polarization. Group polarization is defined as the tendency of a group member to shift towards more extreme position than those they initially held. Group polarization is defined as the tendency of a group member to shift towards more extreme position than those they initially held. Let's say you are part of the group assigned to make a presentation. One of the group members suggests showing a short video that, although amusing, includes some provocative image. Even though initially you think the clip is inappropriate, you begin to change your mind as the group discusses the idea. The group decides. Eventually, you throw cautions to the wind and show clip. your lecture is horrified by your choice. Then let's start with group polarization. The group polarization is defined as a tendency of a group members to shift towards more extreme. They are shifting towards a more extreme position than those they initially held. From more extreme position than those initially held. Then they break it down using an example. They say, let us say that you are part of the group assigned to make a presentation. One of the group members suggests showing a short video that, although amusing, introduce some provocative images. Even though initially you think the clip is inappropriate, you begin to change your mind as the group discusses the idea. The group decides eventually to throw the caution of the wind and show the clip, and your lecture is horrified by your choice. So this example could be you move from extreme to a more initial position. Let's assume that you are discussing a topic that is panning up. So so throughout the discussion, like they said, throughout the discussion, from being extreme, you are arguing with someone. In the later stage, you decide it's pointless to discuss due to the way it's using the argument. My example is inappropriate. I'm looking for more appropriate example. This hypothetical example is consistent with studies of group making decisions that involve the risk. Yes. This hypnotic hypothetical example is consistent with studies of groups making decisions that are more risk. Common sense notions suggest that groups exert a moderating, subduing effects on their members. However, when researchers look at the group closely, they discovered many groups shift from extreme decision rather than less extreme decision after interaction. Discussion turn out not to be moderate judgment at all. Instead, they lead to group polarization. So group polarization judgment made after a group discussion will be more extreme in the same direction as average if the majority of members feel that taking a risk is more acceptable. So if the majority of members feel that taking risk is more acceptable than exercising caution, then the group will become riskier than a discussion. So that is group polarization, moving from extreme point of view to a less extreme point of view, moving from more extreme view to less extreme view. Let's go back to the main slide. So here, attributes of human group. In summary, they say structures. We did discuss human membership. You can highlight them. Group norms, group cohesion, social metric structure, followed by the group process. Group processes, process of human group, interaction amongst members. That's what makes a group, interaction amongst group members. Without interaction, there won't be a group. Without common goals, there won't be a group. In each and every group, there are stages whereby members need to make decisions. However, the decision will be group polarization. Then you have group conflict. You can't avoid conflict. You have a group think. As mentioned, again, what determines the group is leadership and followership. They need to be leaders, then they need to be followers. You can't all lead within a group. And differentiation of groups. That is point number 2 under the discussion. Remember, with attributes of human groups, what makes the group? differentiation and interaction. Differentiation, that is social stereotyping as well as social identity. Differentiation, how can you categorize the group? How can you break the groups down? Social categorization, a group is formed when a number of individuals are seen to be similar in some respects. A group is formed when a number of individuals are seen similar in some respects, but also differ from others regards to matter in question. So we form a group because we have some things that are similar, things that are common. However, there are some aspects that differ. Let's say, for example, we have an in-group and an out-group. The in-group in this instance is us, a psychology student. We are in-group. That's how we see us. Then communication groups or accounting students, we see them as the out group. They're not part of us. That's a social categorization. We create that boundary in our mind. In group is us, out group is them outside. Social categorization as well. We have similarities and differences. Like they say here, though a group is formed when a number of individuals are seen to be similar in some respect, but also differ from others with regard to matter in question. See, similarity and difference, same applies here. The group categorization, we see ourselves as the in group see themselves as similar. Then the out group see them as different. They're not like us. That is social categorization. Even when multiple choice come, you focus on similar differ in out group, in which is us, them. You look at the keywords. When you study and find that you don't understand certain aspects, you just highlight the keywords. Then we have what? Social stereotyping. What is social stereotyping? We start from stereotype, making judgments about others, making judgment about others, whether good or bad judgment. It's simply a tendency of jumping into impression of what other people are like. Simply jumping into impression of what other people are like. Zulus are like this. Xhosas are like this. Whites are like this. Babies are like this. It's simple a tendency of jumping to impressions of what other people are like without having facts. Stereotypes are beliefs, expectations about people. They are beliefs and expectations about people. A kind of expectation can be either negative or positive. You see, the stereotype can be either negative or positive. Then we have what? Social identity. Social identity theory suggests that an individual's self-concept has two components. How do you see yourself? Social identity theory suggests that an individual's self-concept, how you see yourself, has two components. That is personal identity and social identity. Personal identity, how you see yourself. And social identity, how does others see yourself? How does others see yourself? How others see you, that is social identity. How do you see yourself in relation to others? How do you see yourself in relation to others? Personal, how do you see yourself? That is social identity. Then interaction of groups. Interaction of groups. We have what? Intergroup relation. Intergroup relation is divided into individual level expectations, interpersonal level expectation, positional level expectation, ideological level explanation, not expectation, explanation. Individual level explanation, these are explanations that try to explain the nature of intergroup relation in terms of individual dynamic and personality factors. These are explanations that try to explain the nature of intergroup relation in terms of individual dynamic and personality factor. Then interpersonal level explanation, the explanation that fall in this category deal with theory that explain the interpersonal relationship. How do we interact with one another? The interpersonal relationship. Then the positional, the theory of these categories deal with the group type interact. Like I've said, like I've mentioned, certain things, if it is difficult to explain them, you just highlight the keywords. Like they say, individual level explanation. What's the key? Individual's dynamic, personality factors. Individual dynamic and personality factors. Interpersonal relationship, what's the key? Interaction. Interaction. They say interpersonal interaction. Then positional level explanation, the key is group type interaction. Group type interaction. Then lastly, ideological level explanation, the key is explain the general belief system in the society. Ideology, idea. Explain the general belief system in the society. So that's how to master them. If you find it hard to understand the content in detail. Then they say to intergroup cooperative. Intergroup cooperative. One, create social norms. A certain group standard influenced by commonality. Create a social norm. How can you teach people about group differences? How can you teach people about the diversity within the group? That's what it says, intergroup cooperative. How can you make sure that people accept other people as who they are? How can you make sure that we strengthen our group? Then they give you guidelines. They say, create a social norm. How do you create a social norm? They say, a certain group standard influenced by commonality. You need to have to lay down the rules. If your group is based on discussion, doing assignments together, explaining content, you need to have rules. Who does this? What time do you meet? That is, create a social norm. A certain group standard influenced by commonality, maintain equality status, equal status of members of different groups. Be fair on one another. Treat each other similar. They say equal status of members of the different groups. Maintain interpersonal contact. Maintain the perception among and out groups. Maintain the perception amongst people. Maintain perception amongst people between in groups and out groups. They say maintain cooperative activities. Maintain cooperative activities is maintained by setting common goals, common interests, and common values. So you as a psychologist, people come to you for advice, for intervention groups. These are the advice that you have to give them. Develop multicultural ethos and awareness that individuals and groups are different. That's why you find in workplace, in schools, they place these cultural ethos on their walls to teach children that we are unique. You'll find a picture of a white person, a black person, If not that, you'll find pictures of what of a cultural identity, the dress, the food. Yes, now and again they say there's a cultural day. September, there's Heritage Day, to develop what multicultural ethos, develop a critical consciousness of oppressive pattern, develop a critical consciousness of oppressive pattern. The same cure cure oppression, cure oppression, ways to deal with oppressive pattern. They say prevention is better than cure. Cure operation, ways to deal with oppressive pattern. So this chapter is short and straightforward. The grouping. However, let's use the notes. Let's use the notes that's provided by lecture just to summarize it. Even remember, multiple choice questions is how many questions? 50 questions. You'll find that few questions will come from group. Perhaps 5 questions from group. But stress, you'll find that 10 questions are asked. Out of 10, human motivation, you find it again 10. Then the rest, they break it them down 5, 5, 5 to make it 50. So it's a short unit, however tricky. Okay, they say understand the psychology of groups, describe how groups change over time, develop knowledge on the attributes of human groups, understand the differentiation of groups, understand the nature of group interaction. We did explain this. Interaction, where are you? We did explain this differentiation of groups, social category, social stereotype, and social identity. The level of explanation of intergroup relation, we did explain it. Here they say, although a group are in a unit, it is nevertheless made up of individuals. Therefore, intergroup relation to some degree are determined by individuals, dynamics, and positive factor. Okay, we did that one. Then interpersonal. According to interpersonal level explanation, interpersonal interaction are based on economic principles. That is, people interact with others on a reward against cost benefits. This means that people interact with others when their prospects of psychological reward that is greater than psychological cost and involved. Have you ever interacted and worked on a task with individuals whom you consider to be members of the art group? What motivated you to work with them, and what did you stand to benefit? As you a psychology student, you form a group in order to benefit. What benefit to? Master the content, to increase your marks. Meaning that is a reward. The cost. Why am I joining this group? To achieve 1, 2, 3. Then we have what positional level explanation. Positional level explanation, they say intergroup relations are not always smooth and understandably so. Group differences can make working relations difficult and sometimes impossible. The realistic conflict theory states that conflict can result from incompatible group goals in competition. What causes conflict within the groups is what? Incompatible goals as well as competition. Taken from the above reference, a political party collusion in South Africa. We have observed in the past political party collusion fallout now and again. Then the last one, the ideological level explanation. Ideological differences can exist in intergroup relations. For example, if you belong to a group of psychology students who hold a view that human behavior is explained by internal conflict, you are likely to have a heated argument when you are assigned to a group assignment with another group student who believe that human behavior is learned through observation. Such, such differences could lead to conflict and productivity, failure, and inability to attain intergroup goals. So they make an example, they say ideological differences can exist in intergroup. Ideologies do exist within intergroup. They say, for example, if you belong to a group of psychology students who hold a view that human behavior is explained by internal conflict, you are likely to have heated argument when you are assigned to a group assigned with another of students who believe in that. Meaning the power of ideology within a group. If you are told something and you tend to accept it, there are many chances that you will express the view in the same way when you meet other people. The view are likely to influence you. What else? We did mention this. Yeah, so this is the shortest chapter in psychology. Okay, this one, group performance. Group work and group performance, working together in groups, group interaction, and group activity. Then below, you'll see the glossary. Groups refer to the collection of units of the same characteristics or features. Group questions refer to integrity, solidarity, social integrity, unit. Group norms refer to customs, we did mention it. Group polarization refers to the tendency of your group members to shift towards more extreme position than those initially held. Sociometric, the thin line between liking and being disliked, refer to the pattern of liking and disliking within a group, refer to oversimplified generalization among group members. Okay, guys, any questions regarding what we have been discussing? I'm not sure whether it's network. I can see that we have 2 students. Any question, guys, or elaborations? Does the presentation make sense? Okay, guys, I can see due to load shedding and some network on my side, I think if you don't have any questions or elaborations, we can just call it off. I can see we only have 3 students attending. Some are going in on and off. Same applies on my side. I think we are covered for today. Lorraine, Betty, Edna, what do you think? I think we're covered for today because the network is on and off. I can see only 3 attended and the chapter is short. Any questions before we close the session? Oh, sticky lady. Okay, guys, I hope I've covered what you expected due to limitations and network on my side. We can, yeah, just end here for now. we see each other next week. Even Rama says, yes, network on my side is bad as well. I think most of the students' network is bad. So what I will do next week, I will discuss groups as well as when we meet again, not next week. When we meet again, I will discuss group as well as the self in one discussion. Because on my side as well, network is bad. Sorry about that. But hopefully the session was productive. Thank you guys. Follow the timetable, we meet next time. I will repeat groups as well as the self. So feel free to leave the session. We'll meet some other time.